the way, we're going to have a dev summit at the Ceph. And some folk will actually be there, which is great.
Do you know if Jan is going to
Page,
join us as well?
I think so, yes. So the attendees are a part of the Etherpad. So just have a look at the very last entry.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I think I also put my name in it. Yeah, Jan. Okay, cool.
Okay, so we are going to have some possibilities to discuss the orchestrator there as well, which is great. So we are going to decommission both trailer boards, Ceph ADM trailer board and the Ceph Orchestrator trailer board, in favor of a newly created orchestrator project within Redmine. So it's not as fancy as Trello, but it has more features, proper filtering, etc. So please have a look if you see something.
Morning.
Message.
Sorry, I'm a little late.
Hey.
Right.
Joshua, let's talk about draining a bit OSDs.
Right, I just added that because we spoke about that last week, and I thought I would share the progress. And there it is. It's no longer exclusively for draining OSDs, but it's for everything that will be there in the future that has something to do with OSDs. So currently there is only support for draining OSDs, but maybe there will be more. So it's there. It's a pull request. It was reviewed. I just need to fix some linting issues, and but yeah, looks good so far, I think.
Okay. So actually, I don't have many topics for today. It was mainly a week of small bug fixes. Nothing really major. So how is his name? How is his name? Yareed. In which mail is it? I've tried to find it.
It was on dev.io. I just replied to her. It's my email from like an hour ago. Ceph ADM issue with OSD create. Copied dev list. So she was setting this up on some dev machines and spent like forever trying to figure out why it wasn't working. It turns out she was passing dev disk by ID, whatever, and checking to see that it's it only works right now if you use like the canonical device name, like dev SDB or whatever. I think it's probably something we don't want to do. Probably just remove that check. There's that, and then also there was no error reporting, so she couldn't tell. It said created OSDs, but it didn't show any errors. I think we need to figure out how to improve that. But I'm guessing the drive group should go in first, and then come back and then figure out how to make the error reporting good. That's testing right now? That's that run that's going?
Currently being scheduled, right.
Awesome, okay. Cool. Yeah, there are a couple things here that look like Ceph volume things. Like it looked like the LV display didn't update on the host for some reason. It seems weird. I think it's shared state between the container and the host. So I'm not sure why that would happen.
I don't think it is because it uses no sync instead volume. I think we're we're overriding this, so we don't use caches, but we just look at what's in /dev instead.
Oh, I see. Okay. I wonder if
Yeah,
there's
so
something that we should be
which would
doing.
be really confusing if you look from the host. You never look on the host, basically.
So you're talking about the post-test ls test failure.
Oh yeah, I was just mentioning it. I keep seeing it on some test runs and not others.
So the main problem we have is that the message host not found has really nothing to do with the actual SSH error that we're getting. And XZNet really does not provide any more information, and it will never provide more information about what exactly went wrong connecting to the host.
Hmm.
And as
Is
it's
it?
in maintenance mode and no longer in development, that will never change.
Is this? Have we established a pattern like it happens on Ubuntu and not CentOS or something like that?
No, nothing. It just randomly
Just
appears.
randomly. Oh, it's always on CentOS. That one's on CentOS.
So in order to get better SSH connection error messages, we would need to replace Remoto. I don't see another way to properly get error messages. Except for manually calling SSH with the temporary file and then printing out the std error.
Okay. I don't know then. What do you think we should do?
Replacing Remoto? I don't know. Is it worth it? I don't know.
Is it worth using Remoto or worth replacing it?
No, is it worth? Would it be worth it replacing Remoto because of these two reasons? Basically, no proper error messages when we have SSH connection problems, and possibility to parallelize more SSH connections using a different library.
I mean, probably. Like both of those things sound important. I mean, if we're using like so little of the Remoto functionality.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although that changed actually because I now use Remoto to detect which version of Python to run. But
Yeah, that
be
could have
that's
been
easy.
changed.
That we could do that a different way. Yeah. And in fact, I think Remoto is doing the
Careful.
same thing internally because it's actually running all its stuff via Python on the remote node anyway. So it's got its own layer of this, like one layer beneath what we're doing. Yeah, I mean, I hesitate to like stop right now and do that. I think we should probably focus on getting the other features working that we want, and then we can always refactor that part later.
Yeah. I thought so too.
So the next thing I was going to work on as soon as that service LS, well, now that the upgrade stuff is in, is the thing that basically tries to keep the background set of connections all open with the serve record periodically pinging all the hosts. And if it hits an error, it resets it and the new connection. So I think we should try doing that change and then see and then go from there. See where we end up. should be able to have a
So
TR.
when we actually use another SSH library like a parallel SSH, then that would have an implicit SSH connection pool anyway, I guess.
Okay.
So that directly affects which SSH library we are going to use.
Okay.
Have you looked at what Ansible does? Like if they have like a stripped version or if they have like a submodule or something that we could use instead?
So there are three libraries that would make sense to use. One is exactnet, used by Remoto. One is Paramico, used by everyone else, and Parallel SSH, especially for calling for creating many SSH connections to many hosts.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a good blog post about when to use which module in the Parallel SSH blog. I think it's a comparison.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it seems like the most natural replacement of what we're doing with Remoto right now would just be using Paramico directly. Write like a relatively simple wrapper around it. But the parallel SSH probably has some advantages. Yeah, okay. Well, mhm. I still think we need to do a simple connection pool. We can always refactor that later if we switch out the library. Because the main thing I want to do is basically have the serve thread just loop basically and periodically probe all the hosts in the background. And if a host goes down, just raise a help alert that's unreachable and clear it when it comes back, that sort of thing. So that the service inventory and the device inventory are basically always fresh or very close to fresh.
Mm. Do you know how often Rook updates its inventory, or how often Kubernetes updates its list of services running? It's using etcd, right? So
Yeah, so I think it's like each time when your event goes in, then the node status gets updated.
So service is probably our real
And
time, but the device Rook
yeah,
updates its device inventory every like 10 minutes, maybe. Is that what it is?
it depends if you use the hot plug mode. If you don't, then nothing's being done. I think it's an hour by default.
Okay.
So then we look at UDEV, we monitor UDEV, and then we look at any events, and then we catch them, and then we auto add the disk. But that's only true if you use that hot plug mode. Otherwise, we just do nothing.
Right. Okay. 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 I think I was imagining like 10 minutes in my head, but I mean, ideally those updates will be really lightweight. Like the service LS one is really quick now. And I'm hoping, I haven't remeasured, but I think the Ceph volume inventory should be much faster now that we have a Python 3, the Python 2, and we don't have that ulimit validity, but I haven't checked it yet. But maybe I'll take a look.
Yeah, me neither.
Is there a need for having the service LS run much more often than every 10 minutes?
Well, it would just double as a host liveness check. So if a host goes down, you get a help alert that says, that's all.
Okay.
What is doing that check then? Is it the manager?
Well, I have nothing yet, but I was going to add it. I was going to add the Ceph ADM module, just checking if all the hosts are reachable.
So it becomes a daemon, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, the manager, the Ceph manager
No.
would do it. Yeah, the Ceph ADM module
So
in the manager.
Oh, I see. Okay. And then it will
So it's
periodically
always a
connect.
SSH connection.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The other idea would be to make Ceph ADM a daemon, right? But that would be a huge step in a direction that's questionable.
Yeah, that'd be a big change.
I think we're also getting stats from the Ceph daemons themselves too, right? So we could somehow rely on the heartbeats that is currently happening instead of doing checks from. That would be easier, I guess, because we have the distributed fashion already, so we don't really need to re-implement it elsewhere via extra daemon or extra connection checks, especially SSH. When you scale, it becomes like a bottleneck if you have like many connections opened. If you have a lot of daemons, so perhaps we should just rely on the OSD health check or extend it somehow.
Yeah. What about other things like suddenly the NTP no longer really works or is wrongly configured, or the Ceph crash daemon no longer runs, or stuff like not part of the stuff that's not part of the core daemons.
Yeah, so if the infrastructure fails, well, I guess even if NTP fails, then it will take time before the time starts shifting. If it does eventually, it's not really certain. For the crash daemon, well, it's not really a daemon. It's more like a script that runs, and it is managed by systemd. So if something fails on the host, then we will do it. If we want to make crash a little bit more smarter, then it should be a real daemon and be part of the service map as well. So it will appear as listed in the service list of Ceph, not the service list that comes with the manager module, I guess. Well, I think there are options.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I'm just trying to think what's going to happen when hosts are down, because there are a bunch of functions that rely on the service inventory. So like if you try to remove a service and the host is down, then it would just say ebusy or error, or how would you like? Or what if you wanted to do an upgrade and a host is down, then it would just say I can't upgrade right now because the host is down, or it would skip that host, or it would use the stale inventory, or would it just ignore that host because obviously the services on that host aren't running? Maybe it would distinguish between stateful services and unstateful services, so it would continue to upgrade just fine. I don't know. No, yeah, not sure exactly what.
So
the way we initially did it with DeepC was basically every host that was registered was also expected to be up and responding properly. So also the deployed services should be up and responding. And when you did some operation that was like non-trivial, like an upgrade or so, it would just fail and say, there is a host down, and then that shouldn't happen, right? And then either remove it from your list of inventory list, or try again.
Okay. Yeah, that works. It's a little bit funny too, because what happens if you remove it from inventory, but the host is still there and it restarts and the services come up, and so you have these running services, but you have a host that isn't in your inventory. So I wonder if Ceph ADM should also detect running daemons that are on hosts that aren't in your inventory and warn about this. I'll check it for that. Yeah.
I mean, our recommendation was always, so if your host is down and you expect it to be down, remove it from your inventory. But if it's down and you expect it to be up, fix it. And if you can't fix it right now, we had some kind of a blacklisting method, but that was only for SDs.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. 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 Should we talk about the PyPy thing?
So I don't know. Is it worth it to
Yeah, I don't know.
do so much research in it right now?
I have another alternative proposal, and that is that life is better if Ceph ADM is just installed on the host, because you can log into that host and run Ceph ADM shell. Except that it's hard to keep in sync with what you're running. But I think we really need a tool somewhere that will configure package repositories that you can install packages. Right now, Ceph Deploy is filling that gap, but Ceph Deploy is deprecated and also doesn't work on CentOS 8 and newer distros and whatever. It's just whatever. It's not the right thing. So it has to go somewhere. I think we should just put that functionality into Ceph ADM so it can detect what distro it is and what tools you're using and know how to configure a repository to point to upstream or to, shaman builds for dev builds and so on. And if we do that, then it would be a small step to make when you do an upgrade for Ceph ADM to upgrade itself on the host. Sorry.
What about Debian?
I mean, same. I don't know. We could build Debian packages. We don't build Debian packages. I don't know. I mean, maybe we just wouldn't do it for Debian. Again, I mean, it's different modes, right? You can use the root mode, so it wouldn't do that. But if you use the package mode, then I don't know.
Well, I really don't understand why why you do not want to use the PP installer. Why not? PyP is not good. Why?
I don't not want to use it. I'm just not sure that it solves many problems. But I'm not against it. Like if you guys, if you want to do it, I mean, I'm all whatever, sure.
Well,
Yeah, but what if pip is not installed then? What do you do?
So if you have Python installed, then you almost always have pip installed.
No.
I've never seen a system that. No?
I mean, I don't think this is something you can. I mean, it's not because you have Python that you have pipe install. So, but you will always have a package manager. So then you can install your packages. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't use pipe personally. I would stick with a package manager. We're producing packages, so we should probably continue to use a package manager for that.
I mean, I think on my system, what I would want is I would want to use the root mode because I think it's just simpler. But I would also just install the Ceph ADM package on every host just so that I could type Ceph ADM shell as a human administrator. I think that'd probably be what I would lean towards. But
well, I think that Well, that probably if we can use some of the standard solutions that we have in order to install something in any computer, it would work. Okay, so probably working with RPMs, working with Python packets, it doesn't matter. Okay, I think that the important thing is to have the source the source package in something in somewhere in one public repository or one private repository, and to have well the things that are important, that you are distributing exactly the version that you want to distribute, that the user can know without doubt what he's installing, okay, and that the installation will be something standard, nothing new, okay. So probably, and I think that well, it has lot of advantages. Okay, we can do with RPMs, we can do with packet IP packets, but I think that in any case we should use a standard solution. Okay, because trying to do another thing, okay, okay, let's go. But basically, what we are going to do is to re-implement how software is being distributed in this moment.
So personally, I would really, if we want to go that route, I would definitely go with pip, because if we go with package managers, then first of all, we have to implement at least 3 different ways of installing a package, because they all have slightly different syntaxes. And also we have to maintain 3 different ways of building a package and also distributing a package within repositories, keeping that repositories in sync and all of that stuff that comes within. And with pip, we only have 1 way of installing it, and also we could also have 1 way of distributing that package and also versioning that package, and yeah.
But we already have to do that, right? We already have to build RPMs and devs and
Yeah.
for everybody, right? Just for downstream. That's just how
Doing an RPM package out of a pip package is kind of already a solved problem.
Yeah,
I mean,
ADM is still part of the tree, right? So I think it's a little bit strange to have like Ceph ADM built as a package as part of Rook, and Ceph ADM being like a pure Python package. I mean, if this is the case, then we should probably extract it from Ceph so that it will live independently. Otherwise, I don't see the point of having it in tree. But yeah.
Yeah, it has to go in tree though, because it's split across the part that runs on a host and the part that runs in the manager.
So then it should be a package. That's it.
Yeah.
And it needs to stay that way.
Yeah.
For making it supportable for downstream, there is no other way other than installing it via RPM.
Yeah. It seems like the pip thing, we could put it in PyPy. It just means that if people want to use, if they're used to using pip, they can type pip install Ceph ADM and it'll just work. But there are other ways.
Yeah, but how do they know which version?
It doesn't replace. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't replace any of the other ways of getting the script, and it means that there's one more thing that we have to maintain that can get out of sync.
Yeah, because even if you log onto a system and you do pip install, like how do you know you're getting the right version? Because assuming you have Ceph binaries around too, so how do you know which version you should be getting to? It's just like adding extra complexity for me.
Yeah.
So there is a default image version, image name stored in the Ceph ADM source code.
Yeah, that's going to switch to be Octopus, basically, as soon as we tag it, but we just haven't done that yet. So
if you are downloading the Octopus Ceph ADM version, then you're going to get Octopus. If you're downloading the P version, then it's going to be P.
Yeah, so the curl line will actually be a little bit different based on what version you're going to install.
Yeah,
probably. But whatever. I don't know.
Don't like that too much. I think that
Yeah.
this could be completely crazy in the moment that you have more than 2 versions.
Yeah. I mean, the way I think about it is like, what are the docs going to say, and how simple are the docs? And I think it comes down to basically, it's this section right here, and it'll basically say if you're going to install, instead of master, it'll have either Octopus or Pacific or else, and it'll basically say this version of Ceph, get this version. To install this version of Ceph, get this version, something like that.
Then we would have apt install cephadm, dnf install cephadm, yum install cephadm, pip install cephadm.
But I mean, even that's all complicated because like what version? I don't know. Yeah, it's
Well, that what you're asking is like 20 lines of YAMLs with Ansible.
mhm.
Just think about it.
After you install Ansible and you edit YAML.
Yeah, well, on the
20
single
lines.
machine,
We want it to be like 2 lines, right?
Yeah, 2 lines, but it's you install Ansible once and then you
Same thing.
just get the
Same
YAML
thing here.
and you run it.
The same thing. It's also a single machine, right?
No, because I thought your use case was I want to have cephadm installed on all of my machines.
Well, that's a different thing.
Because here
I
it's
think that's
2 lines
something that's
times
cephadm.
like.
I think that's possibly something that we should just have cephadm do. It would just try to install a system version of cephadm on all the machines for human Zoom for you. But I don't know. Yeah. I think all of these are possible paths. I guess for me, the PyPy thing seems like it's valuable only if you want to use PyPy. But if you look at like all the other reasons, it's like we kind of already are addressing the other use cases.
So PyPy would be a replacement for curl.
Yeah, I guess. But
So
I don't know.
either you're downloading it from GitHub or you're downloading it from PyPy.
Right. I always get confused by PyPy because if I run it as root, then it goes in some place. Half the time it like doesn't work. Like I can't tell if it's like putting in the root user directory or if it's in the system one. It just messes up. And then I don't know how to uninstall it. And I think maybe just because I don't know pip very well, but it always like
So
I find it very
you can
frustrating every time.
You can uninstall it.
You can. Okay.
It's pip install and pip uninstall.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe that might be better than curl. Okay. Yeah, we could do that. I guess it can't really hurt unless we're worried about like forgetting about it and getting out of sync. But if we're actually going to use it, then I don't think that's a risk. So I say we might as well, I guess.
What if
And
we
it
want
makes
to
us-
productize this?
Well, the downstream stuff is using the RPMs and devs, or RPMs, I guess.
Yeah, but what if at some point Red Hat and or SUSE wants to productize it? Probably it's good to have like
And it's the
some
RPMs.
the packaged stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's already in the
Always
RPM.
RPM
Oh,
packages.
so we're discussing doing
Yeah,
it twice.
it-
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we already have RPMs. They're already going to be
Yeah.
downstream. For like rel, for example, it's already going to be in the package of repos are already configured, so it's just going to be DNF install cephadm no matter what.
I see. Okay. I thought you were going the route of only having PyPy. Like,
Oh
No.
no. I think we have to have the
okay.
packages. Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay, cool.
RPM is the only way that's supportable. So
Right. So I think that if in downstream this is going to be only RPMs, the way to do it is to do an RPM for upstream,
downstream.
also for
Yeah.
upstream.
Also for upstream. I mean, they're also available upstream, but it's just this getting started thing is way more complicated because you have to configure the repositories.
Yeah.
And then you have to install the package. It's a lot more work.
Yeah.
And the automated upgrade stuff it's harder.
And we need to build proper packages for Debian, because the PyPy installation mode will be the one for Debian users.
Yeah.
But isn't currently the only obstacle that we have, or the only reason why we can't use pip is that we wouldn't necessarily know which version to download, right? And so that's the main concern currently.
But I think that's actually fine. We can just download the one for the latest stable release. And
also couldn't we just maintain like a matrix that says you are currently running that in that version and you don't have the proper version of Ceph ADM installed, and then just bail out and ask the user to download the right version, and or also tell Ceph ADM that, right, yeah, and also Ceph ADM could just go out before it executes a command and make sure that the right version is installed using pip.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't see why pip is an inferior choice of packages, and also pip can also be productized. I mean, we just need to make sure that we have somehow mapped the version that Ceph ADM supports matches the version that the Ceph the cluster is running.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's fine. I guess my vote is to just go for it for pip. I mean, I think right now for downstream we're still going to use the RPMs, but we should go ahead with the pip thing. We can change the curl via pip. I think that's okay.
And it's even shorter.
Because with chmodx, it's just pip install.
Yeah, it's kind of sudo pip -- system install Ceph ADM, something
like that. Yeah. Works for me.
I agree with Joshua about what he said about that. Probably, with pip it will be perfect in all the life of the tool. Okay, but the case is that in our case, I think that in Red Hat we do not use pip in order to install anything. So. We are going to be forced to use only RPMs, okay? And in this case, yes, we are going to maintain three types of RPMs, and it's more work, but I think that is what we have, and I agree also that we should start with pip, okay? In order to have something very very quick to use, very quick to test, and that is something that is very, very user-friendly. So.
Okay.
How do you want to transfer Ceph ADM in root mode when using pip install? So you're doing pip install on the Bootstrap host, and then you have a Bootstrap cluster.
I think my preference would be to stick with the root mode, so it still does the thing where it SSHs over. Just that your Bootstrap mode, when you install it, would be via pip instead of curl, and the other nodes wouldn't have it installed. I think in the future we could add a thing that makes Ceph ADM automatically install Ceph ADM on every node that's part of the cluster. But we need to be careful because we have to keep it in sync, and that's a little different.
Yeah. So the root mode would use the RPM installed version of CentOS because it's within the container, within the manager container.
Yeah, right.
So we have to
Or
make
whatever
sure
image.
that we can transfer the RPM package version of Ceph ADM and transfer it via SSH to a different host. And
I
then
guess I'm not
execute it there.
proposing changing anything at all with the root mode. It continue to work exactly the same way. So whatever package, whatever image you're using for the cluster, that's the version of Ceph ADM that is actually run by the cluster. The only time the pip installed version would be used is if you are, as a human, typing Ceph ADM shell or Ceph ADM bootstrap. And that would be the only change. And then secondarily, we can consider something else in the future where the Ceph ADM module makes a best effort attempt to have a packaged version installed, whether it's via pip or an RPM or whatever, another host.
No.
But I think that's a whole separate. I think that's a whole separate discussion. I don't think we need to worry about that now. Yeah. So I think the pip step now is just to push it to pip and update the docs to change the curl to pip, and that's it, right?
It's not that easy. Because a pip executable needs to be properly have an entry point. So we have more than one Python file, which has an impact on the root mode.
Oh. Well, okay.
That's what I was talking about.
I see. Okay. So it breaks root mode, basically.
So I wouldn't say it breaks root mode, but we have to think about it.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, we had similar problems with the zip pull request, right?
Yeah. So the zip pull request really breaks down at finding a location where we can put it into a specific or upload it to a specific point, like download.ceph.com, something like that. So that's where this pull request really breaks down.
Yeah.
When we are uploading it to PyPy, then that problem is solved. And pip packages can be zipped. That might be an option.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is the nice thing about curl is it's like one file. So if you're behind a firewall and you don't have access to PyPy or whatever it is, you can just like copy it and you can put it wherever you want. And it's like really simple.
Except for Python developers working on Ceph ADM.
Yeah. Yeah. I just care more about the users than the Python developers. Sorry. All right. Well, let's think about the root mode if we can make it work with PyPy, and then we can have that continue the discussion after that.
Okay.
And
great. So when is Daniel going to be back?
Who?
When is Daniel going to be back?
Did he go somewhere?
He isn't here today.
I don't know. I don't know where he is.
Okay. Okay, let's see tomorrow.
Yeah.
Probably he's affected by this Martin Luther racing day.
That's you have talked about. Sorry.
Go
ahead.
Sage?
No, it's just one question, Sebastian. Sorry. Is that you talked about the root mode? Okay. What is the root mode?
The root mode is basically reading the content of Ceph ADM, transferring it via file, via SSH, and then executing Ceph ADM by just using that blob and then piping it to Python.
It's the way that
that's the root mode.
It's the way that we run in Ceph ADM on a remote host where it isn't installed.
Okay, and the problem is that the remote host hasn't got access to remote repositories or sample.
That's one potential problem.
Well, if this is the case, we can provide a manual way to install things, okay? Because you are trying to install in one host that is connected only up in a private network. So this kind of working behavior, I think that probably it should be strange. If you are going to install a Ceph cluster, probably you want that all your nodes have access to certain repositories. So it's a little bit strange.
You don't need to. With the root mod, you just need access to the container images.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about root mode is it avoids all that complexity. You just need this one script to bootstrap, and then after that, it's all self-contained.
Sage,
Okay.
are you okay with the root mod creating a temp file?
Sure. Yeah.
Because that was the only way I could get the zipped root mode to work.
Yeah. I gotta run.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay.
See you guys. Bye.
See you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yep. Then, guess we're done.
Okay.
All right. Bye,
Yep,
guys.
bye.
Bye.